this presentation, we'll review some of the new things with the ThinApp 5.0 release. Before we do that, I thought it'd be a good idea to review some of the reasons that customers are using our ThinApp technology today. First and foremost, we resolve conflicts that arise between different versions of applications, different applications, and applications in operating system dependencies or compatibility issues. So what this allows you to do is package an application, and IT can then confidently deploy that package knowing that it's in what we call a known good state. One example where this is particularly helpful is deploying browsers along with the plugins that are required to make applications work and function appropriately. Another main benefit is cross-platform usage. So there are many applications that customers want to take with them on a Windows 7 migration, and sometimes it's those stubborn one or two legacy applications that can put a project or migration plan in jeopardy. There are many applications where we can solve that problem for the customer and make applications that only want to work on Windows XP function and work on Windows 7 as well. So in this way, applications really become containers. We help isolate and abstract them from the dependencies that are within the operating system. Another key point to ThinApp technology is the agentless architecture. This is something that has a lot of benefits, but the main one is that it simplifies delivery because there is no prerequisite. The ThinApp package is all that's needed to run and execute the application. There's no agent to install beforehand. There's no configuration. The package lands and is either registered to associate file types, or it can be delivered as an exe, and they simply click and run. We are able to deliver applications with an agentless architecture and still maintain the best out-of-box application compatibility. Now, when it comes to TCO and updates and management, there's a couple of key functions that are inherent in every ThinApp package. One of them is streaming mode, and that's the ability to put a bunch of ThinApps on a file share and simply from a shortcut be able to launch the ThinApp package, and what we'll do is put the bits into memory on the endpoint that are used, and we'll stream those bits into memory as needed. This is a very efficient way to provide the applications to end users. In other environments, there may already be tools and processes in place to deploy packages, so we can generate ThinApp packages as MSIs, and that allows ThinApps to be deployed and managed with existing infrastructure. Any way you deploy ThinApp packages, they're simply read-only containers, and they're user-proof, so IT can deploy them confidently knowing what the end user is going to see when they run them. With the launch of the Horizon Suite, we included ThinApp technology in the suite and in each of the bundles. Now, with the launch of 5.0, we've changed two things. One, we've announced now that there is no end of availability for the ThinApp standalone SKU. So if customers want to choose to buy simply the ThinApp core technology as a standalone SKU, they can. The other thing that we've done is extended the support for up to 3 years for ThinApp technology. Now let's talk a little bit about 5.0 specifically. ThinApp 5.0 introduced support for 64-bit applications. That was one of the primary objectives of some of the re-architecture work that we did. Previously, we had done most of our work at the Win32 API level. With 5.0, we were able to work at a lower layer, at the NTDLL layer, and that actually gave us several benefits. In addition to simply changing the architecture and providing support for 64-bit, we also improved some of the documentation. We've made it easier for administrators to find specific packaging guidance for popular and major applications like browsers and Office suites. So to review, the core benefits from ThinApp 5.0 are 64-bit application support, expanded application compatibility, a sustaining architecture to move forward with, and supported integration with AppSense, which we'll discuss later. Now here are some more specifics. We introduced support for the latest Office suite, Office 2013, and virtualizing it at the NTDLL layer allowed us to simplify the use and the packaging of the licensing service. So we have guidelines available online now to help you package and deploy Office 2010 and 2013. Now keep in mind, with Office 2013, we've only provided support for running that Office suite on Windows 7. Now you can run either the 32 or the 64-bit version. We've also introduced support for Internet Explorer version 10. There's two real ways to use this. One is you can create the Internet Explorer 10 as a standalone package and put plugins inside it and deploy it as a separate browser. The other way is to use Internet Explorer 10 as a natively installed browser and simply virtualize the plugins that are needed to make your SaaS-based applications work. Now, either way, you can use the ADM and ADMX files that are provided with ThinApp 5.0 to map specific URLs to which version of the browser, virtual or native, that you'd like to use to render the web application. ADM and ADMX files are easy to create and deploy and change using standard AD domain and GPO procedures. Browser and plugin virtualization is an important and primary focus for us moving forward. It's something that customers have let us know is important in their environment. Internet Explorer 10 is supported up to Windows 8. It is not yet supported on Windows 8.1. On the Windows 8.1 platform, we are announcing support for this. However, some of the major applications are not available yet. So Windows 8.1 as an operating system is supported for legacy applications and browsers, but not fully supported for Office 2013 or Internet Explorer 10 at this time. In ThinApp 5.0, we work directly with AppSense to create a supported integration solution. This simply allows you to take the personalization settings that you may make or an end user would make in a virtual or a native application, and AppSense can persist those settings between the virtual and the native applications. This is very simple to configure, and it doesn't require any additional tools. So that was something that we worked together on, we think has great value for customers. Now that we've reviewed some of the things with ThinApp 5.0, here are a couple of baselines or rules to follow in terms of upgrading. First of all, as with any other ThinApp release, we recommend that you only rebuild or recapture if needed. You don't need to go back and upgrade all of your packages to 5.0. So now that we've reviewed what's in ThinApp 5.0, let's go over some basic rules and best practices for upgrading. The first rule, which is the same as any other ThinApp release, is only rebuild or recapture if needed. When we provide a new version of ThinApp, we don't recommend that you go back and upgrade all of your previous packages. We do recommend that you start using the new release for new captures. If you do want to go back and upgrade a bunch of your older packages, I highly suggest using the relink tool that's provided with the ThinApp binaries in their download location. That tool is an easy way to go through and roll through an entire directory and do a mass upgrade of packages. Now, if a user already has a ThinApp 4.7.x version of, let's say, Adobe running, and they have user-specific settings that they put in their sandbox and for their own preferences, if you remove that package and put down a 5.0 package that has the same application and sandbox name, then the user settings will persist. If you change either the application name or the sandbox name, then the user will create new application settings and it will not persist from the previous package. That is the consistent behavior that we've had in every other release, and that continues through 5.0. If you have packages that are linked using AppLink, we recommend that the base package should be upgraded to 5.0 first. Now in the table below, what we've provided is basically a way to explain the supported environments. With introduction of support for 64-bit applications, a table is helpful. So here are the supported packaging environments. You can either we recommend doing pure environments of 32, 32, 32, or 64, 64, 64. What I mean there is the first number indicates the bitness of the application. The second and third number indicate the capture platform and the deployment platform. Now, core ThinApp technology is a good complement to Horizon Workspace. So if you haven't looked at this solution, here's a quick overview of how the two work together. First and foremost, Horizon Workspace provides a user and group-based way to do entitlement and deployment of ThinApp applications. It now has a scalable delivery mechanism, and the Horizon agent runs well in VMware View environments. With Horizon Workspace, you get an app store, and end users can do basically self-service activation, where they choose an application and it's deployed to them. So Horizon Workspace has a good story to tell for delivering Windows, SaaS apps, and data. The benefits are IT has a single console to go and do entitlement across AD users and groups. See application events, and they're able to deprovision applications and provide end users their own app portal. Now, Horizon Workspace recently switched to a cart model for delivery of the Horizon agent. This is very significant because what this means is that on an 8 to 12 week cadence, new versions of the Horizon agent will be released, and it will include minor new features and bug fixes. So Cart 1 is available now, and it provides a more improved user experience for the Workspace agent. This includes supporting Kerberos authentication that provides a seamless login, especially important in view environments. And when users self-activate applications, it automatically triggers a download instead of waiting for the next polling interval to start the download. There's improved supportability, and we still allow updates for both streamed and delivered packages. Also, there's a configurable offline expiration time that can now be enforced.